Good afternoon. Rick Persh here.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Excellent. Wish I was in Florida. I'm in Alabama right now, and it's snowing.
It's snowing?
Yeah, I had about a quarter-inch of snow up here.
What part of Alabama are you in right now?
Huntsville,
Oh, okay.
trying to sell a house.
It's pretty country up there. I like that area.
It is pretty. It's kind of hard to retire up here, though.
I always like when you look out to the east, you can see the mountains.
Yeah. Well, there's always Ocala, right?
Those are definitely not mountains. They're big hills, but they're definitely not mountains.
Nice to meet you.
You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You are unmuted.
Bob, is this thing working?
No, it's not. It's not working. I'm glad you asked. Oh, wait.
All right, Mon. Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
you hear me, John? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I haven't been able to test the crash from last night, but I'm definitely running a different program because it doesn't look like anything I've had before as far as Zoom goes.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, even, the picture of me when I don't have my camera on, that's never
Uh-huh.
been there. That's never been there before.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah.
Got a full house tonight.
Close to it. We have a lot more room yet.
John, did you see that thing on ARES Connect today?
Yeah, I sure did. Not surprised. We'll go over it tonight. All right, we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. I'm just making sure pretty much everybody's gotten logged in that's going to be logging in tonight. I don't want to keep Kevin waiting too long out in California. Two minutes. We'll get started in 2 minutes. All right, we're going to get started. If anybody pops in from this point on, we'll make sure they get in, and they'll just have to get caught up on where we're at in the program. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight, and Happy New Year to everybody. I'm hoping at some time, maybe later this year, we'll be able to start meeting in person again. But until then, we're going to continue virtual meetings until such time we can definitely get back together in person. I want to welcome our presenter tonight is Kevin Zanjani. Did I say that, Kevin, correctly?
Yeah, it's correct.
He is with Biono Power. That's out in California. He is going to do a presentation on batteries and portable power, which actually works good for us for ARES operations. It's a really good presentation. He has a great products, and he's also a vendor for Hamcation. So we always look forward to when they get out here in February. Of course, we won't get to see him this year. We'll have to wait until hopefully next year to be able to see him again. But anyways, I do want to let everybody know that Kevin is offering a door prize. So in order for us to give out a door prize here on the meeting, Michael will be actually doing a modification to everybody's name, adding a number to it. So that way we can use Excel to generate a random number, and somebody will be able to win a door prize tonight. So if you see your name kind of slightly change, don't change it. If you change it, then you probably won't be able to win the prize then, because it's going to be technically your little ticket that we're going to give you when you walk in the door at a meeting. So so let him do that, and don't change it. And the presentation, Kevin says about 30, maybe 40 minutes long, depending on what questions and stuff you have at the end. But if you can hold your questions a little bit until he's ready for them. Kevin has a great presentation, and I think everybody will pretty much enjoy it. So Kevin, the floor is yours. Thank you again for being here tonight. And
All
the floor is
right.
yours.
I appreciate it. Well, we're going to get started with this presentation. So hopefully you can see this. John, everyone can see that? Is that good?
Yes, looks good
Okay,
here.
Very good. I'd like to, first of all, appreciate the opportunity to join you guys this evening via Zoom. As you know, well, past year or so, we've been meeting with a lot of groups through Zoom, talking about batteries and solar applications. As John mentioned, we're BioNO Power. We're a manufacturer of lithium iron phosphate batteries. It's a new battery technology that offers 2,000 to 3,000 charge cycles in terms of service life, about 7 to 10 years in terms of the service life. And it's a different battery than in terms of lead acid batteries that you've been using previously for ham radio applications. We're located here in Santa Ana, California. We're near the other Disney. We're near Disneyland here. Anaheim is about 15 minutes to the north. We're near the airport, John Wayne Airport. So if you ever had a chance to come out here, just 15 minutes south of Disneyland. So and I know that when I come out there to Orlando, I get to go to Disney World. So but I'll have to wait on that till next year. So our website is up here, bionopower.com, email and phone number as well. So we're a manufacturer of lithium iron phosphate batteries. We were founded in 2010. We also offer various types of solar products. Our facilities are here in Santa Ana, California. We implemented various ISO quality and environmental standards, as well as we believe we offer world-class technology, best-in-class after-sales service warranty, as well as customers worldwide. So this is a map of where we're coming from as a company. If you take a look here at the top of the map, you'll see North America. We do a lot of business with a lot of different federal agencies. One agency that we continue to do business with is DEA. So DEA is using some of our various types of power pack products, something that looks something like this with a built-in battery as well as an inverter. So there's 2 AC outputs as well as USB and DC outputs for powering various types of equipment out in the field. They have a lot of tablets as well as other cell phones and other communications equipment out in the field. So they're using that to power various equipment. We continue to do business with DHS. If you're familiar with a Raspberry Pi, it's a little it's a postage stamp sized computer with built-in CPU as well as memory, built-in controller. And so they're using our 20 amp hour batteries, which look something like this. This is a 12 volt, 20 amp hour battery has power pole connectors attached to it. They're using that to run Raspberry Pi equipment, presumably for surveillance applications, but they didn't really tell us, so we can't really ask. But continuing application of batteries as well. DOL, Department of Labor. So you might be interested in why is the Department of Labor buying batteries? Well, DOL is under the Department of Labor out in West Virginia. The MSHA, which is the mining organization agency under DOL, they offer various types of equipment that are used in the mining industry, it's a regulated industry, one of which are batteries. And they use a lot of lead acid batteries for powering various types of equipment in mines. And they're using some of our larger 100 amp lithium iron phosphate batteries for powering equipment for mining applications. So we work with a partner out in Virginia in order to provide these products for DOL. Forest Service, you might be interested in why would the Forest Service be interested in batteries? Well, it's a very interesting application of batteries. So your tax dollars, they go to scientists that are effectively what they're doing is they're wearing these very large capacitors on their back, and they're using a 12 volt, 12 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery to charge a very large capacitor on their back. And it's attached to this capacitors along a metal rod, and they shoot this metal rod, they stick it in fresh water, and they shoot electrical current from that charged capacitor, sends current into the water, into lakes and streams, and fish pop out of the water. They measure the length, width, height, and the fish, and they throw the fish back in the water. You may be interested. Well, the fishing industry is a really large industry in this country, and the Forest Service does a lot of research in ensuring that these habitats that have freshwater fish, especially with the invasion of other species of fish, they've been causing a lot of problems, and so they want to see how these fish are doing in the water. So it's an application called electrofishing. So if you go on YouTube, take a look at it, you'll see it's a very interesting application. You'll see the fish kind of jump out of the water. I didn't know what that was until I saw electrofishing on YouTube as well. Universities. So we're continuing to do business with various universities on the East Coast, MIT and Naval Academy. We've also done business out in Florida with FAU, Florida Atlantic University down in Miami, and also out here on the West Coast, the UC system, University of California, as well as many other universities. And they've implemented various types of renewable energy course offerings within their curriculum. So in the electrical engineering programs, they've offered courses on battery technologies as well as solar technology and systems and how this all integrates together. So it's a development at the bachelor's and master's level on renewable energy. So it's a very interesting application. Up in Canada, we're doing business with a company called Nanometrics up in Ottawa. They do business out in Alberta, Manitoba for exploration of oil and gas. Anyone that works in the oil and gas industry, one of the critical aspects is finding new sources of oil and gas. You might be wondering, well, why would the oil and gas industry be interested in batteries? Well, in oil exploration, there's a lot of instrumentation equipment that's used to find these sources of oil and gas, and they're all battery powered. So these sensors and equipment, they were using lead acid batteries, sealed lead acid, AGM, absorbed glass mat batteries. And what they found is these batteries don't really keep up well at very cold temperatures, whereas the lithium iron phosphate operating temperatures, which we'll show later in the presentation, we're able to get it down to about minus 20 to minus 30 degrees Celsius, which is a better offering compared to lead acid batteries. So what is this chemistry that we're talking about, lithium iron phosphate? Well, it has several acronyms. You'll hear LFP, lithium iron phosphate, lithium ferrous phosphate, LiFePO, LiFe. We're talking about the same type of chemistry. So it's considered now to be a state-of-the-art battery chemistry. It has a tremendous degree of thermal and chemical stability. It's intrinsically safer because we have a very ultra-stable iron phosphate bond. We're seeing 2,000 to 3,000 charge cycles. In fact, we introduced these batteries back in 2012, and the original ones that have already are still out there. So it's already 8 years. We're going into year 9 now, and we go back to these original OEMs asking, do you need to change out batteries? And they said, well, it's still going strong. And so it's a pretty robust chemistry. We want to differentiate it with respect to lithium ion polymer or lithium cobalt oxide battery chemistry. That's something that's found in your phone. So this is a typical smartphone. This has a polymer battery built into it. This is different than what's in these particular batteries here. And these batteries, lithium iron phosphate batteries, they're composed of cylindrical cells. So they look something like this. So these little cylinders are used to build up the entire battery pack. And that's what makes us different than a polymer stack that's found within your phone. It's more rugged. It has a better, in terms of performance, the cylindrical cells perform better within this packaging for lithium iron phosphate. Now let's comparing it to a lead acid battery. So you've probably used a lead acid battery. It's in your car. You've probably seen what happens when a lead acid battery goes bad. It sulfates, it vents, you leak sulfuric acid. I had my old car had a lead acid battery that went bad. The sulfuric acid came out of it and it ate the entire harness, the metal terminals. It was a big pain to get that all replaced. Whereas this particular chemistry, you have a very stable iron phosphate bond, and you're not dealing with either lead nor sulfuric acid. So from the standpoint, from environmental standpoint, it's a lot easier to recycle. Lead acid batteries, they're quite heavy. This is about a third the weight of a lead acid battery. So this is a 20 amp hour battery that weighs about 5.5 to 7 pounds. And I'm holding it with one hand. I can't really do that quite easily with a 20 amp hour lead acid battery. And I can use that for powering various types of equipment. Sealed lead acid batteries, maybe about 200 to 300 cycles are usable. This is about 2,000 to 3,000 charge cycles. So you have a large cycle advantage there. And with a lead acid battery, there's no notion of a protection mechanism. So for example, let's say you were to leave your radio turned on. You've probably seen it on a lead acid battery or AGM battery, which is a form of lead acid batteries, maintenance free. You can easily over discharge the battery. The voltage drops to a very low voltage, and it's hard to recover. You've brought the voltage down too low, and whatever you try to do, it's hard to recharge the battery. Whereas this is a little bit different. All of these batteries contain a circuit board inside of it that protects against overcharge, over discharge, over current, over voltage. So if you were to leave these batteries, leave your equipment turned on attached to these batteries, at about 10.5 volts, the battery shuts off that output. So there's a protection mechanism built in there, which is a big advantage with powering various equipment. Lead acid batteries, if you were to pull, let's say, a 1C discharge, meaning if, for example, if I had a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, let me grab one here.
Can we stop a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt. Can everybody see his presentation? Somebody popped up and said they can't.
I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay, I don't know how to help the guy. It's Robert's iPad to everyone. We can't see.
Yeah,
what he is showing.
that's me. It sounds like he's showing the batteries that he's talking about, and all we see is the presentation.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a presentation. It's because I'm in the corner probably. Can you see me, my video in the corner of your presentation?
If he's on an iPad, he may not see the video.
Yeah, iPad don't see the video. Okay, so it has to be on a PC or something else. Okay.
okay. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead and continue on. I just thought we could help.
No problem. So a lead acid battery, maybe only about 50% is usable, at which point the voltage drops too low. Whereas these particular batteries, you can capture all of the capacity out of the battery. So a 12 volt, if I had a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, for example, if I was to run it at 12 amps, then I could capture nearly 100% usable capacity. whereas with a lead acid battery, only 50% is usable. We'll talk about that later in the presentation. With respect to the memory effect, we don't have any memory effect with this particular chemistry. So this is a big advantage. I could charge the batteries at 25%, 50%, 75% state of charge. So this is important because you can use it for both cyclic and standby applications. Cyclic means if I charge up the battery and I discharge it, fully charge the battery, fully discharge it to its cutoff voltage, which we mentioned was about 10.5 volts, then recharge it again. Or standby is, for example, if I have a UPS system for in telecom applications, I discharge it a little bit low and then I recharge it. We don't see that memory effect. So that gets us into our next advantage, the fact that the effect of the partial cycling, because we don't have that memory effect, we can partial cycle the battery without getting that degradation. And a partial cycle doesn't count as a full cycle. So let's say if I was to go to 50% and then recharge it, that's a half a cycle. Self-discharge about a few percent per year. So it's pretty nice in terms of self-discharge. So this slide shows you kind of the advantages. Again, if I have a 12 volt, 12 amp hour lead acid battery, I was to pull 12 amps out of that, only about 6 amp hours are actually usable, at which point the voltage drops too low, whereas a lithium iron phosphate battery, nearly 100% is usable. We get a lot of questions about the functions of the protection circuit module. So every single battery that we offer has a circuitry built into it. So this circuit board, what it does, that's built into every single battery, does the balancing and equalizations of the cells. Inside the pack, there's an over voltage protection. So that means if I was to attach a high voltage source to it, it shuts off and doesn't take any charge current. As an over current protection, if I pull too much current out of the battery, that will then shut off that output. There's also over discharge protection. So at around 10.5 volts, it shuts off the output to protect the cells, short circuit protection, as well as temperature protections. So that's all built into the battery as well. Some of the advantages in terms of using this chemistry are shown here. This is a battery spec sheet. One of the important things to take a look at is the internal impedance. So if you notice, it's less than 100 milliohms. So that's a big difference compared to a lead acid battery, which internal resistance can increase dramatically as the battery ages. So you don't drop voltage across that internal resistance. And we give you all of the parameters if you need it for the charging profiles. So there's PCM parameters if you wanted to build your own charging system later on. So that's all available to you. This is pretty cool. This is the discharge curve for a 12 volt, 20 amp hour, and all of our lithium iron phosphate batteries have the same type of curve. What you'll notice here, it's completely flat. So across 95% of depth of discharge, you can use the entire capacity of the battery. So if I have, let's say, a 20 amp hour, which is this one, this particular battery will shut off around 10 volts, and you can use this to run, for example, a 100-watt radio at full power, 20% transmit, 80% receive for about 10 hours. So that's a big advantage for 100-watt transmission. And with respect to the temperature, you'll notice here, there's not much reduction in capacity at very low temperatures. So on this graph right here, you'll notice around -20 Celsius, which is about 14 Fahrenheit, over 80% capacity is usable. But if I had that AGM lead acid battery, absorbed glass mat, and I was pulling a 1C discharge, maybe about 30% is actually usable. And on the high end, we don't really see too much degradation in terms of usable capacity. So you get a really good performance across the temperature. And that's really important up in places like Canada we were talking about, where the temperatures get pretty extreme on the low end. With respect to the runtime, how do we calculate the runtime? So we want to look at several factors. So if we're going to look at the average continuous power, Gutter equation, power is equal to the voltage times the current. So if I was to pull, let's say 10 watts continuous, a 12 volt times 12 amp hour battery, it's 144 watt hours. So voltage times amp hours is a unit of energy capacity. Watt hours, also unit of energy capacity, like kilowatt hours in your electric bill. 144 watt hours, pull about 10 watts. It's about 14 hours of runtime. but that's a continuous runtime. With radio, it's a bit different. So with ham radio equipment, there's something called a weighted average. So weighted average means that the equipment transmits, for example, at a higher power, and then we receive at a lower power. The equipment receives at a lower power. Transmit high power, receive at a lower power. So if I have QRP transmission, let's say I transmit at 10 watts and receive at 2 watts, 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, we're going to get something about 40 hours in terms of the runtime. Whereas if I was going to do a 100 watt transmission and I was going to transmit 20% and receive 80% at 100 watts, then a 20 amp hour is roughly about 10 to 11 hours of runtime. So you do need a little bit of a larger battery for 100 watts. And then we have a chart that's on our website that shows you these runtimes, and we'll talk more about that also later in the presentation. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about some of the interesting applications that customers are doing with the batteries. This is Michael Jones, W6GYC out here in Santa Clarita, California. He's got our 20 amp hour battery. This is a suitcase that he's built, Go box with the radio and a solar controller. And you can charge the batteries using a solar controller and a solar panel. So this is I'll show you. This is a PSP28 solar panel. It's a foldable panel that can be folded up with a controller. Now the controller is something that's needed in order to regulate the voltage from the solar panel in order to correctly charge the battery. So you can't just hook up the solar panel directly to the battery. We said that there's circuitry in the battery, but the circuitry in the battery is not a solar controller circuitry. It's different. So the solar controller is a separate product that's needed to regulate the voltage from the solar panel in order to correctly charge the battery. So you need a battery, controller, and solar panel in order to charge the battery while you're operating with the radio. So you can charge the battery while operating, which is a really neat feature as well, especially for ARES and emergency communications. If you need to set up a Go box setup where it's a solar deployed setup, you can have the panel, battery, and controller in order to charge the battery while operating. This is N4KGL up, and he's up on the, I guess, near the Panama City, which is more towards the northern side of the state. He's running team's running the KX3, the 15 amp hour battery, and then a Slim Jim antenna as well. This is Tor, LA9XGA. He does Summits on the Air. Summits on the Air is a competition out of UK where you go up to these mountain sites and activate these different mountains. I'll read you what he wrote. It says, this soda hike started from my home Ixis Ranch 0600 UTC, and it took me around 3 hours to get to the summit. The weather today was almost unbelievable, with minus 10 degrees and a clear blue sky, and the view from the summit almost indescribable. On this activation, I was using my Elecraft KX3 with 5 to 10 watts of output, 2 Dynapower lithium iron phosphate 12 volt 8 amp hour batteries, and a buddy stick multiband vertical antenna. I made a total of 153 QSOs on this remote summit activation. 153 QSOs, it's a lot of QSOs. So it gives you a perspective in terms of the performance at the cold temperatures we were talking about earlier for this particular chemistry. So he's got a tent, some skis, and at night you build a fire for soda out in Norway. We talked about earlier solar, how to do that. So again, there are 3 components: the solar panel, the battery, as well as the controller. So it's very simple in terms of the equipment that's needed in order to charge via solar while operating with the radio equipment. A lot of questions we get in terms of the wattage of the panels. Well, how many watts for the solar panel? It really depends on the size of the battery. So a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery is 144 watt hours. So if I have a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, 144 watt hours, a 60 watt panel would charge it in about 2 hours. So you see there, that's a suitcase style panel, or you could use a couple of our BSP28 solar panels, which fold up as well. And that would get you 60 watts. So it charges in a couple hours as well. If you, we suggest something that charges the panels within the solar day, depending, the time of the year. So within the, 6 to 8 hour time period is what's considered suggested. Again, do I really need a solar charge controller? I just want to hook it up directly to the battery. Again, the panel's raw voltage or the open circuit voltage It ranges anywhere between 15 to 22 volts, and that voltage is too high for the battery. So it steps down that voltage from the panel so the battery can accept it for properly charging. So that's needed in order to regulate the voltage from the solar panel to charge up the battery. This is a very common question that we get is, do I need a special charger for these batteries? So the battery wants to see a constant voltage, current limited power supply. It can either be linear or switch mode. The overcharge and over voltage protection, that's built into the battery. And also the balancing is built into the battery. So you don't need a fancy balancing charger. So if you're familiar with, if some of you work with RC quadcopters, drones, or RC cars, there's a special balancing charger from other companies. Not needed. You simply apply a voltage anywhere between 13.8 to 15 volts, and then current limit that input for charging the batteries depending on the model. And we also pair it up with the purchase as well. So they look something like this. This is the power supply, these little power supplies that come with it. These are just putting out voltage and current. And the circuitry inside the battery does the protection against overcharging. If you want to also there's also third-party products. The Epic Power Gate is another example of that. So the Epic Power Gate allows you, it's from West Mountain Radio. It's a third-party product that fully supports the batteries. So inside of the Epic Power Gate, there are these jumpers that can be set inside of the product in order to set it for lithium and also the amperage for charging the battery. So you can plug in any power supply as well inside of this product. And then you can then also connect your radio where it says out, and then battery where it says battery is fully automated. You can also connect it to a Raspberry Pi computer. You can measure, for example, the charge current that's going into the battery. It's great for monitoring remote setups. In other words, let's say you have a repeater that you want to run off battery. Well, you could set up the battery and the West Mountain unit, connect it to Raspberry Pi to interface over the USB, and then see what the charge current is going into the battery and monitor that remotely as well. So we can talk more about that later at the end of the presentation. What's the charge voltage? What's the open circuit voltage? So the battery charges anywhere between 13.8 to 15 volts. And after charging, the battery's open circuit voltage rests between 13.2 to 13.5 volts. And the voltage matches up really well with all types of radio equipment, which wants to see about 13.8 plus or minus 15%. So you don't need a battery booster that you've been using with your lead acid batteries to raise the voltage. There's no need for that product, nor is there any advantage using it. What size of battery? How do I know? Well, it really depends on your total power consumption and your desired runtime. So we talked about continuous power. So if I had, let's say 50 watts continuous power, a 12 amp hour battery, 3 hours of runtime, 20 amp hour, 5 hours, 40 amp hour, 10 hours, 100 amp hour, 24 hours. That's continuous power. But remember earlier, we talked about this weighted average. So the weighted average, we transmit at a higher power, we receive at a lower power, transmit high, receive low. So let's start with a QRP transmission. So if I was transmitting, let's say at 10 watts, that 6 amp hour, a small 6 amp hour battery that weighs under a pound, about 3/4 of a pound, will get you about 12 hours of runtime. A 12 amp hour battery, this would get you about 24 hours of runtime. You know, if you're doing 8 hours a day, that's about 3 days on a single charge. Like KX, that would be your KX2, KX3, 817, Yaesu 817, 818, and also the ICOM 705. So you have quite a bit of power available. Now 50 watts, if you're doing mostly VHF, UHF transmission, 12 volt, 12 amp hour is very popular. It's about 10 hours of runtime. The 20 amp hour gets you about 17 hours at 50 watts. So that's, 50 watts could be a simplex transmission. I don't really know if you need 50 watts to get into your repeaters. I doubt it. But if you do, that's kind of the runtime. That's the selection that you would need for the batteries at 50 watts. Now for 100 watt HF sideband transmission, it's about 10 hours at 20 amp hours. I'm not sure if your group, we'll talk more about that later, requires HF transmission. If you do, we do suggest something a little bit larger. The 12 amp hour is about 6 hours. May not be enough for emergency communications use. So we usually suggest the 20 amp hour, which gets you a good 10 hours of runtime. And so out here, the ARES is set up in such a way where they have multi-mode transmission. So there's a VHF, UHF. There's also HF transmission here because we have a lot of geographic, our geography. We're in a basin. There's mountains behind us. In some counties, they have mountains that straddle across the county. So if you transmit on VHF, UHF, you can't get over the mountain. So sometimes they require an HF transmission, a setup for the emergency communications. It's required here. So, but it might be different in Florida. We can talk more later if you guys are running HF. We have a lot of questions about some of our commercial work. We've added this in our presentation in the recent years. So we're adding some of our examples of commercial work that we've done. This is with our utility out here, Semper Gas Company. And so if you're not familiar with natural gas gets stored in massive underground reservoirs. And we have a state law here that requires gas companies to monitor for any leaks. And so they set up these sensors that have these gas flow sensors where they take a look at kind of if anything's coming out of these reservoirs. And so what they've got here is this is a 12 volt, 20 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. And they were using a lot of lead acid batteries that they had to change out every year. And they have this enclosure up here that they use in order to charge the battery. It has a solar controller circuitry built into it. It has some telemetry equipment for relaying the information areas where they don't have AC mains. And so they've set up this pretty neat setup where they've got these data collection units and batteries as well as controllers and solar panels in these different sites. And right now we're doing a pilot with them at their different sites. This is up in Canada, we talked about earlier. This is pretty cool. This is a satellite KU band telemetry system. This is up in Alberta and Manitoba, performance down to about -30 Celsius. And we've incorporated these 20 amp hour batteries, controllers and panels. You might be wondering why they're using 4 100 watt panels. Well, it's because up there, the solar day is really short. And so you need additional panels to compensate, especially for heavily overcast and snowy days. That's why they use satellite because there's no LTE cellular there as well. So you don't have there's no cell phone access. So the bandwidth is limited. They don't want to do a radio packet. And so they have to do satellite to get to the bandwidth that they want. This is out in Louisiana and also Laredo, Texas, Flow Services. It's the same type of setup, except this is LTE cellular. And also they do some radio packet as well in order to send the data back. This is 20 amp and 30 amp hour batteries, controllers. They replaced the entire legacy AGM batteries because they were changing them out so often. This just lasts so much longer as well. We've been to a lot of conventions. We got to come out to, I should say 2020 as well. We were in Orlando 2020 before everything shut down last year. Up to this point, we'll hope to see everybody, hopefully at Dayton. We're going to be out there, hopefully, if it's going to be happening. Otherwise, we'll see you guys. If it doesn't happen, then we'll just see you guys in Hamcation in 2021. And this is some of the cool setups here. You can see up here, there's a Pelican box. So you can put the batteries as well as, you can put some foam inserts in there and take the batteries as well with you on the go. And some of the other events we've been to, some magazine articles, CQ magazine, certainly take a look at that. QST magazine as well. And Stu Thomas has a book, KB1 HQS, on portable operating for him, where he talks about the batteries in there. So it's a good book. It's a good 101 book if some of your membership wants to take a look at that. Then we're other markets, audio visual, as well as the marine market, trolling motors, as well as fish finders. So if any of you have a boat or a kayak and like to go on, get on the water, you can certainly use these batteries, or ABS batteries, the sealed ones, for that application. And then radio communications, robotics, RVs, campers, UPSs, as well as other applications. Now, this is some of our new products I wanted to show you. This was new for 2020. And so we've got some new solar panels that we were supposed to debut at Dayton, but they just, it didn't happen. So we put it up on the website. There's the BSP 40 Lite, BSP 60 Lite. So these are much lighter panels. We had those large suitcase style panels. We still have those. we're offering these ones as well, 100 light series and some brand new power packs that just have more capacity, more runtime. Just so many people wanted more power, more runtime, more power. So we made a lot of upgrades there as well. And 48 volt, 100 amp hour battery. And we'll talk more about the door prize. I'll let you guys figure that out, and that's all I have. And we'll open it up to questions.
We got questions? Don't forget.
Yeah, so Rick,
Good, Rick.
Good.
Yes, I was curious about the price of some of these batteries, especially the 20 amp hour battery that you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's going to be it's $192 at retail, and so there is an upfront investment to the batteries. We understand that. I will offer. We're going to offer a discount to the group. We'll send the code out. I'll send that, John, out to you guys for a discount code as well. But there is an upfront investment for these batteries. Now we could depending on how many times you change out your lead acid batteries, if you're changing them out every couple of years, we're seeing these batteries, the original ones, still out there. This is they were introduced in 2012, so this would be 9 years now that the original ones are still out there. So if you change them every 2 years, the lead acid battery, you could argue that your total cost of ownership could actually be less, even though the upfront's more.
Thank you.
Yep.
I've got a question. I currently, with my Go kit, I'm using two 22 amp hour batteries, lead acid, in a Pelican case, and it's over 30 pounds. How much is that particular battery you're talking about, the 20 amp hour battery? Is it like 5-6 pounds roughly? You're saying about
this is about 6 pounds, a little over 6 pounds. This is a 20 amp lithium. So 20 amp lithium is like, in terms of runtime, is like a 40 amp AGM lead acid battery. It's 2 to 1. So because you can use all the capacity out of the lithiums, unlike a lead acid battery.
It's perfect for what I need.
Yeah, this one's really popular for HF sideband, 100-watt transmission, 50 watts as well. So, and I see some that have batteries they're showing, which I'm very happy to see. Yes, excellent. It's been we've been able to now there's a lot more radios. I got the 705. I don't know if you guys are into QRP. I don't know how many are doing QRP. It's a very nice radio. It runs very well off the batteries. They're able to get that power consumption down in this brand new generation of radios. So it works really well off the 3, 4.5, 6 amps. It lasts for days on it from what I've seen so far. But yeah, there's a lot of applications that we can talk about as well.
Hey, Kevin.
Sure.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I've got a question here. Bob here. What I'm running right now is a Duracell 35 amp hour sealed lead acid in one of those power packs, got all the Anderson things on it.
Yeah.
Plus 5 or 6 years old now. It's still good. I was going to ask about the longevity of your battery. If I like recycled it every 3 days or every 6 months. You just said something 2012 are still in use.
Yeah.
Do you have any prognosis? I can't say the word. Word on maybe how long the battery will actually live, even though you're recycling it once every 6 months or once every 5 days?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if there's the cycling, which is cycles, when you compare batteries, apples to apples comparison, then there's a service life in years. And so if you cycle less, you can extend the service life in years out. So let's say you only use the battery once a week, maybe 4 cycles a month. Yeah, we can easily say that that's what's going on with some of these early customers of ours that have been using it for, it's the 9th year, it's the same battery. So we asked them, what's the use case? And they told us that it's exactly that, where they may be using the battery maybe twice a week. And they don't, and then they go ahead and recharge it, and they use it twice a week. And so they're seeing this long service life. So yes, if you don't cycle every day, then you can increase the lifespan. It just depends on everyone's application. For radio, it tends to be something where it might be once a week kind of deal, or a couple times a week. Some are only once a month. And so they're still using the original batteries. Service life's extended. Yeah.
Great answer, because I've just got mine in my truck for emergency use. So it might be once or twice a year. So
Yeah.
I might consider that when my battery decides to go bye-bye.
Yeah. This might be
Thanks
worth checking out. Yep.
Great,
Question with
presentation.
that. Sorry there, Bob. Question with that. How long does a charge last if it's sitting on a shelf?
If it's sitting on a shelf and you don't recharge it, it only loses 3% per year usable capacity. So the reason we tell you to recharge it every 6 months or so is so that you don't lose that capacity. You don't lose that 3% per year. That's why we tell you to recharge it.
My turn. You mentioned using existing charge systems. For your 12 volt 7 or 8 hour battery, amp hour battery, and I haven't looked at your stuff online. Would it replace a legacy AGM battery, and would it have T1, T2, or F1, F2 connectors on it?
Yeah, it has F2 connectors on it. And so it would replace the legacy AGM batteries that you're using. If you have an existing charging system that charges the batteries between 13.8 to 15 volts, the battery will take a full charge. If your charging voltage is less than 13.8 volts, the battery will charge, but it will not completely charge. So I would say about 95% of charging systems is somewhere between 13.8 to 15 volts, but I've seen some charging systems where it is less than 13.8 volts. But if you're in that range, it's okay.
Okay, I would have to analyze that. And it would be the same size physically?
Physically, it's the same size. It would replace the 7, 8, 9 amp hour AGM SLA batteries that you're familiar with.
Okay. I'm only asking that question, John, because I just replaced the trip light in Sanford, so. Okay.
No problem.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So in an application where you have a continuous draw on the battery, let's say you've got equipment at a remote site that's, solar powered. And, we've seen some of that in amateur radio, maybe a packet data site or something like that that's in a remote location. And I've even run into some of that in my work life where we have, some remote sites. And so generally, in those situations, you may have a continuous, current draw, maybe half amp, an amp, what have you. And in those situations, we just kind of plan on having to replace, the sealed lead acid batteries every few years. The battery technology you guys use, is it able to handle that kind of continuous draw environment better, or would it be about the same?
So that's a good question. So the continuous draw is not a problem. If you're changing the lead acid every couple of years, which is typical, you're looking at something that's easily right now at least 9 years in service. And so it's a big deal in terms of cycle life and also the service life as well. So that continuous draw is not an issue on the battery. You would still see that longer service life because of the cycles that are available.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. And of course, I say a couple of years on a sealed lead acid, that requires a good quality charge controller. Something a little less quality, and your batteries aren't going to last that long, even sealed lead acid. But appreciate the information on that.
Yeah, and the reason why in the lead acid battery market right now, there's a difference in the quality of the purity of the lead that's being used. The quality of today's lead acid batteries is different than the quality of previous generations. Okay, because the lead that's being used is a recycled lead, so the purity is lower, and that purity is really critical for the performance of a lead acid battery. So the ones you purchased maybe in the early 90s, they're nothing like what they are today. And that's because of the lead acid, it's such a dirty material to use. It's so toxic that the governments have required these batteries to be used recycled lead as opposed to pure lead. That's another issue. Any other questions? I can't hear for some reason.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I had my
nobody's
microphone
talking.
still,
Okay.
I had my microphone still muted. Does anybody have any other questions? And you want to go ahead and do the drawing now while you're on the line?
Should I draw? Okay.
That or Mike, I think Michael actually
Who's gonna
did
draw?
the,
Oh, okay.
Michael has a number generator created.
That's
So
probably better.
your microphone, Michael.
There we go. Everybody hear me?
There we go.
All right. Everybody see my screen with the number generator?
Yep.
Okay. That's not the number because there's not 56 people in here.
I was going to
All
mention that, but I refrained.
Everybody should have a number on their beside their name that I give everybody. So we will generate it now. And the winner is number 6.
Hey, Bill.
Bill won.
All right. Congratulations. Bill, if you don't mind, can you send me an email, or you can paste your information in that group chat, your address, your name, address, information, so we can get that shipped to you tomorrow. And
You're
Bill,
muted.
Muted.
Yeah, I can send you an email. I just
All
have
right.
to get your email address.
All right, I'll paste it. I'll type it in the chat. It's sale@bionopower.com. It's been pasted in the chat window.
Down here, honey. You see it?
Yeah, and if you can just email me, and then we'll get that shipped to you tomorrow.
Power.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Biopower.
Yeah, I've got it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Kevin, I do appreciate it. I mean, and I thank you for saving us this week. Couldn't get a confirmation out of my other presenter, so I was going to have you do a presentation in the coming months, but thank you for jumping in and taking care of it this week for us.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, the invitation, and I hope to see you guys next year in 2022. Okay. And have
We
a
hope to see you
great
too.
year. All right.
Oh,
And if
by
you
the
have
way,
questions,
just in
let us
case you
know.
hadn't heard yet, Hamvention did get canceled. They
Oh,
made
it did.
now-
Okay.
They
Yeah.
made the announcement today.
They just made the announcement today. Okay. Well, it looks like
Okay.
we're gonna be virtual for the rest of the year, I guess, and then
Looks that way. It definitely looks that way.
next year. All right. Well, thank you again. Have a great evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you
I'll
for
drop
taking the
out,
time to
guys.
do this. All right,
Thank you. See ya.
Michael, did you want to talk about Hamcation?
I can. Want to go in here? All right. Let me share my screen, make it a little easier here to go through everything. Share screen to share. All right. My screen shared?
Yep.
Screen 2? Or
Looks like
Hamcation?
email.
Okay, wrong screen. There we go. That should be.
Yep.
All right. So let's go through everything real quick. As everybody knows, like John said, everybody should know by now, Hamcation was postponed. We are pretty much got everything up and running and ready to go for the 2021 special edition, which is February 13th, 14th. One of the couple things that we did do this year that's a little different. We did create some special edition, limited edition lanyards for 2021. If you go to the front page of the website, you can order yours today. It is a $8 donation to OARC. And that $8 actually includes shipping. So everything's included in that. We have a limited supply of them, so you have to get them while supplies last. And the proceeds from that will go to making our annual donations to local clubs within the area. So is that one. Our big one that we're doing is the webinars this year. We have 4 tracks of webinars. They're Saturday and Sunday, February 13th and 14th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. As you can see on here, a lot of the webinars are already up on the website. You do have to register to attend a webinar. Once you register, a link will be sent to you of how you can watch it. The webinars are done through Zoom. As you can see, there's a lot of good ones already. ICOM's doing one as a vendor. Carol Perry is doing her youth recruitment one. If you're in contesting, you can check out WRTC 2022, which is the Radio Sport Championship. If you're in the D-Star has a real good one. John Davis is doing. Also, Yoda 2021, Neil Rapp and a couple of his guys on that committee is doing one. Let everybody know also, Neil Rapp was our 2021 winner of the Carol Perry Educator of the Year Award also. Tim Duffy, K3LR, is going to talk about his world famous K3R station and antenna farm up in the North Pennsylvania. Flex Radio is doing one. Ken Lyons, everybody should know him from the club. He's actually doing one on Joda. ARL is going to do one for a membership forum. Ellicraft, couple unique ones that are different. I know Joe Eisenberg is going to do a kit building. He is also going to do one 3D printing for amateur radio, which is a very interesting sounding one. Those are your Saturday ones, and we're starting to fill in Sunday already with some good ones also. So AMSAT is doing one, West Mountain Radio, Contesting 2.0. Actually, AMSAT's doing a couple of them. So there's some good ones set up. So just like I said, to do this, you will have to go to the website. Once you're on the website, if you just click one of the little info buttons here, it will take you to a second page that gives you more of a description, and you just click register and just follow what it says on the screen. To let everybody know also, if you do register for a form, you will get a free entry into the prize drawing. We will be doing prize drawings every hour in between the webinars on the Hamcation Facebook page. It will be doing it through Facebook Live. So every entry doesn't give you a prize drawing. All you have to do is register for at least one, which will include one prize drawing. So if you register for 14 different webinars, you do not get 14 entries. You still only get one. So with that said, let's jump over to...
Quick question before you change topics.
Sure.
For those of us, say, volunteering at the exam sessions, are these going to be recorded in any way so that we can watch them later?
Yes. All the webinars will actually be recorded to YouTube. So they'll be up there pretty much forever at that point.
Sweet.
So while we're talking with prizes, you can also, for a $5 donation, you can purchase additional prize tickets if you want to get a more of a chance to win. The money from this is also going toward the donation toward the local clubs. So this is one of the ways we're still trying to give back to local clubs. We know when we cancel or postponed Hamcation, that it would affect all the clubs because of the donations that we do give out every year. So we're still trying to do that for the local clubs. So you can get extra prize tickets there. And while we're on that topic, we will go to the prizes. So with all these extra prize tickets that you purchase, you have a choice or a chance to win one of two Saturday or Sunday grand prizes. Saturday is the Yaesu 991A, and actually Sunday is the new ICOM 705. We also have a lot more prizes. You can go to the website. I'm not going to read through them all. Almost a couple times a week, this is getting updated with more people donating prizes. One of the prizes is actually a Biano Power 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, which was donated by Biano Power. The other good one is a 240 watt hour battery box donated by Shack in a Box and Biano Power. So there's some good prizes up here. We're adding more, just like I said, a couple times a week. Our next item that we can go over real quick would be the QSO party. We are going to be having a Hamcation QSO party. The rules, everything is here. It's going to be a little unique this time. We're actually going to be running everybody contact everybody type of QSO party. But also there's going to be 9 special event stations that will get you bonus points. If you can contact all 9 of them, which spells out Hamcation, you'll receive an extra 100 bonus points in the QSO party.
Question.
Sure.
The call sign actually is the way I see it. The letters in the front are part of the call sign, right?
Let me go back to that page.
So
The
the first
letter
one
in
is
the front.
The first one is HK4H, right?
No, the first line spells out Hamcation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the H is going to be for K4H. They're all 1x1s.
Oh, okay.
And they're all U.S. call signs.
Yep.
K4M, W4C, N4A. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, last letter is the
Last letter spells Hamcation on the backside is what it's going to be. So, but that will be those. And one of the things we're going to be actually doing live at Hamcation, it will actually be in the North Hall. We're actually going to be having amateur radio exams. So if you need to upgrade your license, or if you know anybody that wants to take an exam to get their license, if you go to the Hamcation website and under amateur radio exams, all the information is here on the website. You must register to be able to take your test. Reason why we're doing this, we're trying to limit how many people go, so we know how many people showing up for social distancing and stuff like this. Right now we can set up right around 32 participants in the North Hall, and that will actually put everybody right around 8 foot of separation between all the tables. So, and right now the fee will be free. I know everybody's thinking that they just upped the fee to $35. That should not be in effect before Hamcation Special Edition happens.
Right.
The exams will,
So let us know 30 days in advance of when that fee will begin to be collected, and that
Yeah,
will
and
not
they
be
haven't even
collected. That will not be collected by the VEs. That will be something you need to pay directly to the FCC.
hopefully they haven't made that ruling yet.
Okay, sure.
So they're not sure what I read from ARL. They're not sure how it's going to get collected yet, but I'm taking it that's probably how it would be. But as of right now, it won't affect us at Hamcation.
Right, because
so
we're 30 days out, just about.
yeah. So the exams will actually be Sunday, February 14th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you do want to register, please go to the website. Please pass it on to other people. Also, to let you know, if you go to the website, we are partnered with Gold Medal Ideas. They are selling unique Hamcation Special Edition merchandise. So if you want something that has actually the special edition logo on it with the year, you can go to their website. There's drinks, mouse pads, shirts, cups, sweatshirts, all different types of stuff on there that you can purchase through them for the Hamcation Special Edition. And that is all I have.
Does anybody have any questions for Michael? It's pretty self-explanatory. I know some of you guys might have heard this information already, but we're just trying to make sure everybody takes a good look at the website and the webinars that are available and sign up for them. Like Michael mentioned, there are a lot of good ones. AREL is actually doing 2 webinars. One of them is the membership webinar, and then the other one is on ARES or public safety. So you guys might be interested in signing up for that one also. Those details, once James receives those details, what the actual description of what they're going to present, which is due out to him sometime this coming week, he will get that updated on the website and stuff. So just keep watching the website for further updates. I mean, it's almost done completely, but there are going to be still a few more updates, hopefully, and watch for them, so that way you sign up for those webinars you want to watch. As Michael said, that they will be streamed over to the YouTube channels. We're creating those now, and so if you're not able to join us that weekend and want to watch one of the presentations afterwards, you'll be able to do that anytime afterwards. That information will get all published, and where you can find the YouTube channels here shortly once we get them all created and stuff. So we can't get together in person this year. We are definitely going to be doing the virtual part. Let's just keep praying that everything goes well later in the year with the vaccines and stuff, and hopefully in 2022 we'll be back. And as Michael should have mentioned, the 2022 Hamcation is going to be the 75th anniversary of Hamcation and the ARRO National Convention. So it's going to be a big year.
And John actually said this earlier. One thing I'll bring up that we did find out today that Hamvention has been canceled for this year. Basically, just what they put out was because of increasing everything that's going on with the COVID, increasing numbers, and also with the vaccine not getting distributed as quickly as everybody thought it would be. It was in the best interest of them and the safety of everybody to cancel for this year. I do know they're going to put out more information here soon. So just anybody that was planning on going, or keep an eye on their website, and they should have more information. I do believe they're going to do a QSO party again, but I'm not sure what else they're going to do. So.
All right, and just so everybody knows too, a couple other Hamfests that people sometimes do attend have already been canceled. One of them being CPAC out in Oregon, Seaside, Oregon, has already canceled, and that was in June. And also HamCom in Texas, Plano, Texas, actually folded this year. They will not be back. They were normally also in June time period, and they have folded and will not be back ever again. So sad years for a lot of the Hamfests. Let's hope that does not continue. And just remember, please support the vendors of all these Hamfests. A lot of the vendors out there are mom and pop vendors, and we need to continue supporting them. It's been a rough year for them, and they're trying to pay their bills and stuff too. So if you end up needing some type of amateur radio supply, keep them in mind when you have to make that order. Michael, you want to go ahead with that one?
Yeah, just to let everybody know, there is going to be a tailgate going on here locally, K4KDI winter tailgate. I got the information up on the screen. It is also on OARC's Facebook page. You can find this on it. It's the one down on South Conway Road at the Baptist Church. So I can tell you for sure, Tower Electronics will be there. If you're looking for any type of connectors or other little stuff that they carry, they will be set up there with their full setup. So it's going to be a little more than just all tailgaters there. So I do know that one, they will be there. So if you're feel up to going out to checking out a tailgate, I'm not telling everybody to go. If you feel safe doing it, go. Support some of the people that's going to be there. So.
All right. Any questions on any of that so far? All right. Next item up. This came out today from Scott Spratt. National Weather Service is still doing spotter training by virtual means only. They are not coming out to meetings, and that is going to continue for the foreseen future. I don't until later this year, maybe, if not, maybe into next year, before they actually start coming out to do actual spotter training. If you have done spotter training, if you remember each course, whether it's basic or advanced, you need to redo every other year. So if it's been 2 years since you've done basic or advanced, you're probably coming up due for that this year here. So you might want to watch their website or watch these little flyers that they put out for the dates that they're going to be doing them. They are virtual. It's probably over Zoom also. They are mostly during the day, but they are on weekdays and on weekends. So, which helps out for a lot of people who are still working. I'm going to forward this out by email tonight, which at the bottom of the flyer is a registration form link. You do need to register for the training, and they will send you the information on how to connect to it for that day. But if these dates don't work for you, then just watch for the next one that comes out. And as soon as I get them, I'll send them out to you. So that way you can try to attend. If you've never done Skyward training, I highly recommend you do it. And start with the basic first, and then go to the advanced. So it's a good course. It's a good thing to have, and it explains a lot about the weather, especially if you recently moved to Florida. Kind of gives you a good perspective on what to expect here in Florida. So I'll send that out to you guys as soon as the meeting's over with. Something that actually came out in the email today, a big announcement from the ARRL. Somewhat a little bit shocked about it, but then I'm not shocked about it either. But ARES Connect, something that I've been trying to get you guys to lock onto, and some of you have, and I appreciate it very much, but apparently it hasn't been well received across the United States. And it was announced today that apparently the vendor who creates this ARES Connect, or this volunteer hub, doesn't really want to sit there and go the route that ARRL is trying to go with this type of system. They're not really willing to expand it like ARRL is wanting to. So come around the end of June, the ARES Connect is going to go away. So ARRL is no longer going to support it after that. I think it's June 30th. And they are going to look at some other platform in the future. I'm just not sure when that's going to be, whether it be fairly quick after June 30th, or maybe just sometime in the future whenever they get around to it. So that news just came out today. But if you haven't started using it, don't concern yourself with it. If you are using it now, we have until June 30th, and then it's just, like I said, it's going to go away. So no worries there. It's a shame because it was a good way to keep track of everybody's hours, volunteer hours. So fun days. We'll talk real quick about fun days. Right now, I was hoping maybe at the end of January we would start some fun days back up. I'm just not comfortable with it yet. I'm trying to keep ourselves safe. Our cases are spiking still. I know the vaccination is starting to get out there. Some of you might have already had the first vaccination, which is great. Some of you have not had, like myself, have not had even the first vaccination and probably won't be getting it for at least another 5, maybe 6 months, probably, the way I see it, before it be even available to us. So for the time being, we're going to continue holding off on Fun Day until such time it seems to be reasonable and the cases are coming down and stuff. So I just don't want us to be put in a position of being known as a super spreader or a spreader of it. So I think it's best in our best interest not to do it. Not to mention, Michael and I went by the comm center one day last week to do something, and I ran into the break room bathrooms to use it real quick, and the break room table didn't have any chairs around it. The chairs were all gone out of the room, and the couch or that little sofa thing that they had in there, the cushions were off of it. So I take it at this point, they don't want anybody inside the break room hanging around. So they got rid of all the chairs. So Fun Day would have been probably a standing event if we did try to use it in the meantime. Which goes along with the fact that the EOC is still off limits. The EOC is still a public free zone. They are not allowing the public in there, so that's why we haven't gone back to even having face-to-face meetings and stuff. So so for the time being, again, we're still going to be virtual. 2 more items I have on my list, and we'll go around to the rest of the staff. Anna, I just want to welcome Anna to the staff. Anna took over for Stan. Stan served Orange County ARES for many years and served the organization very well in the capacity of not only the finance emergency coordinator, but also the emergency coordinator for Orange County ARES back in the 90s and stuff. So Stan has taken a retirement. He is not going anywhere. He is still going to be with us. But Anna did take over for Stan, and we got everything switched over to where Anna signs the checks now and has control of the finances. So we welcome Anna to the staff, and I appreciate her taking on the role of AEC of Finance. And lastly, we touched on this briefly and somewhat of a discussion. As everybody has probably heard, the FCC has implemented a $35 fee for amateur radio license that includes new licensees, renewals. Also, if you want to get a vanity call sign, it does not include administrative updates. So if you need to change your address or change your email address or something of that nature, you can update that without a charge. But renewals and stuff and new licensees will end up paying $35 fee here soon. Paul mentioned that the VEs would not be accepting that fee. They would not be collecting it. You would have to pay that directly to the FCC. All I can say is what Michael says, what we've heard is all that's undecided yet. The likelihood is you would pay that to the FCC, but until they put all this information into the register and announce the date of when the fee will be collected, we're pretty much in a guessing game. I will also mention that it was mentioned by Jim Schilling, who is our vice director for the Southeast Division of the ARRL, mentioned he has gotten some wind that even when they make the announcement or put it in the register, it will probably be longer than 30 days before it even starts to go in effect because of all the things they have to do to make the changes. There's databases that have to be updated. There's forms that have to be updated. Rules have to be implemented and updated. and stuff. So it might take longer than even 30 days before it actually goes into effect. So, but be prepared. So if you are wanting to do one of those upgrade your license, or you know somebody wants to get a license, Hamcation could be your saving grace without having to pay that $35 fee. So might want to think about studying really quick and getting that taken care of. So that's all I have. We'll go around to the rest of the staff and we'll ask questions, or anybody has any questions or anything you want to bring up. So Michael, did you have anything?
I don't have nothing else now.
Okay. Dean, I'm trying to look at, see what I have on the screen here.
No, well, no, nothing tonight.
Okay. Paul?
Hit the mute button and it didn't unmute it. Widen the screen. Yeah, actually, I do have something. A little while ago, some of us started playing around with a new on-the-air, they call it a protocol or data signaling method called VARA or VARA. It's out of the European Weak Signals Club, if you will. Currently, it's being integrated into WinLink. So what you'll find is if you're experimenting with this, you can connect in with WinLink Express. I'm trying to remember the other one and I can't, but that's all right. What it is a different way of encoding versus the 1200 baud dual tone method that's been going on from days when Bell 202 was a current standard, and it increases the bandwidth of the amount of data that you can transmit at one time, often quite substantially, both on VHF and HF. It is currently Windows only. I don't know what their plans are for expanding that to other operating systems if that's important to you, Mac users or Linux users. But they're also, because it's just a way of conveying data over the air, it could also be used for APRS sedan, other chat mechanisms, or anything like that over the air. If you're interested in more, well, the homepage of the technology is pasted into the chat window. If you're interested in either playing around with it or purchasing the $70 license, you can do so there. From my limited testing with a few of the folks on the call, it works pretty well, but without a license, it does limit you to, I think it's one of two of the 14 different levels of data transmission speeds. So it looks to be pretty stable so far, but I haven't actually tested it myself in the higher speeds, but it's looking like it has some good potential. And of course, being HF as well, it has the possibility of being used instead of the PACTOR modems that are of questionable legality, depending on which one you have. Apart from that, and wanted to ask, did we care about the w4mco.org domain? I know we use OC ARES, but
yeah, what we've been doing is taking the ones that we've had in the past and then just using as a redirect to the main site now.
Okay.
So that's why we keep them renewed.
GoDaddy was looking for a renewal, and I don't know if that actually happened, but
Rick said he was going to take care of it, and then once Rick got it taken care of, he was supposed to send a invoice to Anna, and Anna was going to write him a check for it. So
fair enough. That's all I've got. And for anybody that's going to take part in the upgrades at Hamcation, I'll see you there in person.
Yep, looking forward to it, and appreciate you helping out with that. And anybody else that's going to be helping out with the Hamcation amateur radio testing or license testing, appreciate you helping out with that also. Let's see, who else we got? Dean, you said you had nothing. James, you have anything?
Did we talk about we got to shut down a couple of ARC repeaters for a week or two?
No, we didn't talk about that, but we can because people might be interested in the Traders Net. We'll move it over to 050.
Okay. I forgot the dates on that.
I think it actually starts with next Tuesday's meeting, or what do you call it? Traders Net. Let me look at my email.
I did talk to Bob C about it. He's going to talk to them to see if it's possible that we can shut the power off during the day and turn it on late in the evening for the net. To see if they would be okay with that.
Yeah, we just got to make sure we get the word out to everybody in case it doesn't work out that way. So
Sure.
they know where to find the Traders Net. It's from January the 19th through February the 2nd. Location of where the repeaters are that OARC has, Hillcrest Hampton House, is having the roof redone. And the contractor has requested that all the transmitters that are up there on the roof to be shut off, which includes ours and many others that are up there.
Hey, John, I got an idea.
What's
If
that?
that does happen, I can go up on the output side directly, simplex at full power, and just make an announcement that the repeater is off the air. Please switch over to 443050 UHF, maybe a couple times on, just on the output side.
I mean, that's always possible. That's fine. I want to get emails out in advance too, so that way everybody knows where to go.
It's just a catch-all. Yeah, cool.
So I'm one thing I guess I'm afraid of, if for some reason we take the repeaters down during the day like they request and try to bring them back up at night, if for some reason it doesn't work, then everybody's going to wonder where the Traders Net is. So that's why I almost wanted to switch it over for those 2 weeks. Either way, we'll get the word out to everybody what's going on with that. So it's not our house. We just have a place there, and we still have to follow their rules. So anything else, James?
I'm aware of the interference on 443050. It's not overwhelming. It's during the day. It doesn't seem to be happening at night with my short investigation. I do not know what's causing it. But I'll keep working at it. And I'm sorry if I'm not identifying with my communications monitor at minus 28 dBm signal output, Keith, but that was me.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Keith.
Actually, something different. I'm gonna post this on the group if I'm gonna do this correctly. Did it go through? Yeah, I think it went through. Posted the website, thegoshield.com. I seen this on social media a while ago. I know the masking is a royal pain. I don't like it any more than some people do, but I've seen this and I checked it out. It is a clear plastic shield that fits on your nose, and it gives you the same protection without wearing a mask. Put it up there. Everybody's interested in looking at it. I might get it eventually. Pass off to my boss at work, and he's might look at it as well for the college campus. But something different, some more practical to use, because everyone wears a mask and workers are all muffled out. You can't hear what the heck they're saying anyhow. So they're based out of California. Looks pretty good. So besides that, Dad's not here, but that's okay. Anyhow, back to you guys. Not much else.
All right, Mike Devine. Unmute it. There you go. Oops, still not hearing you. Not sure what happened, but we couldn't hear you. You unmuted, but for some reason couldn't hear you.
Try it, Michael. Nope. Print out a sign that says still can't hear you.
How's that?
There we go.
Okay, do you need volunteers for VEs? I can do technical licensing if you need volunteers.
All right, I'll talk to Val and see if he's in need of additional VEs.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay. Cliff?
I guess I don't have anything.
Okay. Appreciate it. Rick Harrelson?
Now, nothing else to add. I think Paul summed it up pretty good. VARA is working pretty well. I use HF as well as VHF. And you can go to winlink.org. You can also find more information about VARA and WinLink. There are 2 packet stations on the air now. If you want to use them to try to get into them. If you go to the winlink.org webpage and look over on the tools and then look at the map and then click over, you'll see the little tabs across the top. Click over on VARA FM and you'll see the stations that are on the air. There's some down around, was it Port St. Lucie and that. I have a station on the air here, WB4ULT-10, and Mitch has an AE2A-10 on the air. Dean's got a Digi up, so you have something you can kind of experiment with, but it uses a sound card instead of a modem, so makes it really nice.
Cool.
That's all I've got right now, John.
Sounds good. Sounds good, guys. All right. Does anybody have anything?
When you say the 2 packet stations, you mean 2 VARA stations? Right.
Yeah. It's still sending up packets of information, but yes.
Yeah. It's still packetized
stations.
information, but it's not AX25, it's VARA.
Or Bell 202 for that matter.
Yes.
Anybody have anything?
Only thing I had to add was since brought up testing, I do know they do need VEs. If you do want to volunteer to be a VE, just send an email to testing@hamcation.com and it will go to Val and Aaron and let them know you're available for that day, and they will get in contact with you.
Even better solution. That's basically what I was going to do for Mike, but
a little
Sounds
story.
good. And just so everybody knows that they're all the, like Michael mentioned, the test session, all the social distancing rules will be in place, masks are required, and somebody will be going around sanitizing after each person gets up from their test session. So trying to keep it safe as possible, guys.
A little story.
Good.
I walked into Radcom today on the way home because I had to drop off a commercial radio for repair. And Alex is the guy in the store, took over for his dad. He's passed away. And he was on the phone talking to a guy, and it was pretty loud, so I could hear. And the guy says, yeah, Hamcation is 2021 is not happening. And so I don't know where to go. And Alex let me take over the phone. I got the guy straightened out that we're doing a virtual, and his interest was, and hopefully he will go online and register, is that his name is Ray, KA4AQP. His license expired in 2017, and he wants to know where he can go to take the test to get back on the air. So that's my little story for today.
All right, cool. Anybody else have anything? That's all we got. Next month, I'm hoping to have the presenter that was supposed to present this month, which is Wolf River Coils. Another solution to using a HF in the field, an antenna for using a HF in the field. So I figure it might be a good program for us. As soon as I get confirmation, I'll make sure everybody knows about it, and hopefully he'll be here for our February meeting. So that's all I have for this evening, folks. Appreciate everybody taking the time out of your night to join us. I hope the presentation by Biennial Power was pretty good. Maybe you'll have an opportunity to win a prize at the virtual Hamcation, or at least if you feel that it's a battery that you can use for your Go kits, which I think it would be for everybody, you'll be able to take care or be able to buy some. So looking forward to it. Talk to everybody soon.
There.
Bye all.